Hello, world, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast being brought to you by the Brotherly Blue called With That Being Said. Today, we are going to be talking about a very controversial topic, which is guns. And something we actually haven't talked about that maybe we'll touch on a little bit organically is the teacher and like guns whole like dynamic, and it's something that we're both very familiar with, but we haven't talked a whole lot about. So maybe that's something we'll get into, but we're going to talk about our guns. We're going to talk about a couple other things when it comes to like gun legislation and stuff like that. So hopefully the conversation won't be too all over the place, but at the same time, with it being a topic of guns, we can keep it kind of focused. So, with that being said, that is Brother Kyle.
And that is Brother Cody. And to get us started, we are going to show our firearms that will, conveniently enough, we actually both live in states that have incredibly loose gun laws, Arizona and Pennsylvania. But I purchased both my guns legally, one at a gun show and the other just at Walmart because Walmart sells guns. A few months ago, I went to the Phoenix Gun Show and I bought this Walter PPK 22. It's pretty nice. It holds this 10-round magazine. And so that is my handgun. And to complement that, I have my 20 gauge pump. The shells go in the bottom here, feet along here, and this holds 5 shells, 4 in the stock and 1 in the chamber. And so I have the Remington 380 20 gauge pump and the Walther PPK 22 handgun. I bought the shotgun at Walmart where they did a 24-hour background check. I had to come back the next day to get it. But the handgun that I got at the gun show, it was literally a 45-minute background check, and I walked out of the gun show with a firearm.
And so that's the way I prefer to purchase my guns is at gun shows because it's very simple. It's like not very transactional, if that makes sense. Like, but it also is transactional because that's like literally all it is. It's like, hey, I have money, you have a gun. I want to buy it, you want to sell it. And so it's pretty much as simple as that. And that's why the gun show loophole exists and things like that can happen. But with that being said, I love a good gun show. I go to gun shows all the time and I purchase my guns from gun shows. I actually have a very similar handgun. This is the Walther PK 380, so it's just a slightly larger caliber than the gun that Kyle has. And my magazine actually only holds 8 rounds instead of 10, so that's where yours would have the advantage. But again, maybe you need those extra 2 bullets when you're firing at 22 instead of at 380.
Yeah.
This gun I love. I've shot it before. I've shot it many times. I've taken it to the range. I've taken it out shooting a bunch of times. I love that gun. My other gun is my big one. This is my Smith & Wesson MP15. It's a 5.56. And the magazine holds 30 rounds, so it's a 30-round magazine, and so it just goes right into there, and then you cock it, and that's how you put it in. And I actually wanted to grab one of these just to show it because it's fun as well.
The thing about that gun is
this is the bullet that goes into it. Yeah.
I was actually gonna. Well, while you have that up, I did want to. Okay, so these are the rounds that I have for my PPK.
Yeah.
But their Full Metal Jacket. Do you have hollow points for yours? Because
No.
no, you have Full Metal. Yeah, I. It's not a big difference, but like I have shot both, and I prefer to have hollow point bullets. But this is just what I have right now.
Hollow points are supposed to be more accurate,
Yeah.
um, but I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, that's neither here nor there because, like, if you're shooting someone or if you're using the gun for what it's for, um, you're not terribly worried about pinpoint accuracy coming out of your handgun.
No, definitely not. Especially like close range, where it's most likely going to be used. Yeah.
That's like, so I had an ex roommate who was a military guy, and he was specifically like a weapons guy. And he, I have this scope, right, that I could put on I could put on the big Smith and Wesson,
Yeah.
and it's got the spot bore right here, so like I could mount a scope on it. But again, and this is kind of what goes into my argument later about that type of gun
Yeah.
is like I'm not using it for hunting, so why do I need a scope?
Well, yeah, exactly. Seriously, why would you need a scope for that type of firearm? And this
A
does
red
something
dot, a red
that
dot would make more sense. You understand that? Yeah.
what?
A red dot, like having a red dot.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for that kind of rifle for sure. If you are using it to hunt, which is absurd. It's like, yeah, nobody buys those things to go hunting with them. But again, that's neither here nor there. Whatever. Buy your gun legally. I don't care. But what I wanted to say is that like, and this is something I hope we'll get into later, is that like your big gun there, your rifle would fall under the classification of an assault weapon, even though it's not on the AK platform that we're gonna hopefully talk about, because it's not an AK platform. And the closest thing, which I love that we get into historically, is the M16, and
Right.
I looked that up as well, and it's like that was standard issue for Vietnam soldiers, or troops in Vietnam. They used M16s, and the M16 was designed to like replicate the AR.
Right. And then the M4 was the updated version of that.
Exactly. And these are all just assault rifles. And that's, again, why I think gun nuts get into the semantics thing. And they like to sort of jerk each other off when it's like, oh, AR stands for Armalite, the company that created the first AR. It's like, okay, but assault rifle is also a classification of weapon that we need to recognize, especially when it comes to legislation.
Right. And that's the thing is I feel like too many people get their panties in a wad over simple words, and it's like, okay, I understand the simplicity of saying the difference between assault rifle and hunting rifle is semantic, but at the same time it's not, because the rifle that I possess and that I was just brandishing and showing, that is a weapon designed for killing human beings. It's not a weapon designed for killing animals.
Yeah.
This is just a simple fact of the matter. Like,
yeah, like I said, people don't buy those guns to go hunting with them.
Not typically.
Not typically, which is again why you're not going to have a scope on the on your freaking MP5. But yeah,
right, just wouldn't make sense.
Yeah. So, do you want to get into our first article?
Yeah, and so actually, I'll say this: something that we don't do very often, but I'm going to do it this time. Is I'm going to post all 4 of these articles in our comment.
Yeah, good.
or somewhere. Yeah, just because these are really good articles. And not only that, they're shorter, which is something to be said for the things that you and I generally share.
Yeah,
Um,
I read a lot.
yeah, especially you. And so like these four articles are actually relatively short. And if you have the time, they're definitely worth the read because they have good information about an issue that I think is on everyone's mind.
Yeah, and like you said, I really can't stress enough like how it doesn't even matter that these articles are as short as they are because of how good they are.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. Yep. Yeah. All right.
there's
Well,
really a
so
whole lot of fluff. So the first one is the assault weapons ban, which I'll just I only have one point to make about it is that like it worked.
right.
Yeah, there was an assault weapons ban that took place that was on the books in America for a decade. During that decade, mass shootings went down. Mass shootings were higher in the decade previous and higher in the decade following. According to population, you wouldn't expect to see that dip.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just looking through the article right now. And so that's the thing is like it comes down to this guy said it's like it's arbitrary and it's absurd and it says the word assault is used to try to get people fired up about something to spark an emotional reaction. And I think that is the case on both sides,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate because I think that the gun grabbers, as referenced in that person's blog post, um, they can use the word assault rifle for their advantage, but the staunch Second Amendment people who think they follow it because they don't actually understand it. But anyways, those people also can use the term assault rifle and use it for advantage ways for their argument. So
Yeah.
it's just a buzzword.
Well, and it's funny that we're talking about weapons and it's weaponized language. Like it's literally being weaponized by both sides in different ways. The same word.
Yeah,
But
same.
that's the thing. It's like if Americans are good at anything, it's inventing something and then turning it into a weapon.
Oh my god, dude, I've seen that one before, and yes, that's right.
Yeah, it's like we invent the airplane. How do we put guns on this?
So what's cool is the other article is essentially saying the same thing. Sorry. But I'm actually gonna do one of these real quick because I know how to do it. So I'm gonna share this one because it shows the do, do, do. It shows the graph
Yeah,
showing the numbers that Kyle was just talking about. So you can
it's
see
so
right
insane.
here. Yeah, the numbers go down and then they go back up and then they go back up even more.
Yeah.
So
I again I like to show this graph because when 1984 to 2022, yeah, but the assault weapons ban was from 1994 to 2004,
right.
and yeah, it was one of the things that Clinton did in his second term that was pretty great, but like that's the other thing is he did the Brady crime bill. So not so good. That's one of those areas where it's like Clinton really was like good and bad. Like this is great that he really pushed for this too, the assault weapons ban. But the Brady crime bill led to mass incarceration and is just a nightmare.
And just well, and the Brady crime bill is actually very much related to the assault weapons ban that we were just talking about.
Yeah,
But just randomly, another thing that Bill Clinton did that wasn't cool. Also, wasn't he responsible for the Glass Steagall thing?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a Supreme Court decision. Again, it's like presidents only have so much effect on the Supreme Court, which that is
Yeah.
why we're in our current situation. Donald Trump has appointed I think 4 Supreme Court, 3 or 4. Yeah. So again, yeah, some good and bad things about the Clinton administration for sure, because also like economically, we've talked about this. He was pretty good. He presided over the .com bubble, the internet bubble, so he was lucky there to ride the economic supremacy there. But
No, and I like the way that you're kind of leading off because it gets to a point that I often come to, and we're talking economics, so we'll get off it in a second. But presidents have very little to do with economics, and not only that, like good economies generally follow with Democrats, but that I honestly think is a cyclical thing, and like we're just kind of lucky in that like our policies and the things that we do in general are like overall just better for the economy. And so like it's little things that make the economy better during Democratic presidents.
yeah. Well, and also to switch gears, but maybe kind of bring us back, because it's not like presidents can have an effect on things like downstream, like gun policy, but like the fact that it is so different from state to state, like the gun laws in California are vastly different from the gun laws here in Arizona. Who's the president honestly isn't going to have that much of effect on that.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
I will say that guns are one of the things that are most I feel like state legislation has a lot to do with gun laws more than local or national legislation, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And that's another point that I want to get to when we talk about the loophole thing. But your next article was the the gun grabbers one. Did you want to talk about that? We kind of already
Hold on.
did.
Let me just look at it real quick. Yeah, and so that's the thing is like basically it's like you said it's just a blog post.
Yeah.
But
And
sorry.
well, my synopsis of it is that it's basically just this pro gun. It's literally from Spokane, Washington, which is fun.
Oh yeah.
Is it? Yeah. So I don't know. That's funny, and it's like just a pro gun guy, and like call people gun grabbers. I think is a bit hyperbolic. Nobody's coming to get your guns.
Right.
Yeah. So again, in the article, he like really bastardizes the terminology between hunting rifle, assault rifle, and all that stuff.
Yep, and he says that the uses for the AR-15 are home defense, small game hunting, and shooting sports. And again, this is what I'm saying. The guy out there shooting squirrels and rabbits and shit like that is not using an AR-15.
No.
Using some kind of bolt action hunting rifle, not an assault rifle.
Yeah. And so I guess like the only uses would be home defense and the other one you said?
It was like gaming, like shooting for sport shooting.
Exactly. Like there are tactical courses that you can they train police officers on, but you can like as a consumer, a layperson,
Go do that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can go to these things, and you're gonna practice with an assault rifle.
So it says shooting sports. is the last one, and then down at the bottom or down further is because again it's not that long, but it says hunting rifle uses, and that's the thing is like this guy, like you said, he
No
just
one.
confuses himself. Like he walks in circles, and like
Well, the other part where I just want to keep going back to it is nobody's buying those guns or building an AR platform to hunt with.
right. So hunting rifle uses are hunting big game, hunting a small game, long range shooting, and competitive shooting.
And
So
that's more accurate, but like competitive shooting, not so much. But I guess,
right.
yeah, you could.
So yeah, like you, and it's no surprise that the guy's from Spokane, Washington. So
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
because yeah, what's funny is we both know that place very well.
Yeah, Spoke Compton. Um,
So then the last one, and that's the reason I brought it up, the gun show loophole thing, is because I kind of don't get it, if I'm being honest with you.
well, okay, this is what's great about the argument about like state to state is like the issue with the gun show loophole is here's an example is that like somebody who lives in Chicago, Illinois, the state of Illinois has strict gun laws, but they cross the border into Indiana that has very loose gun laws, and they go buy a gun at a gun show in Indiana and then go back to Chicago and commit a crime. And it's like that's the gun show loophole, the big myth.
Got it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that sounds to me like the welfare queen myth. Am I
Yes.
right? Okay.
But it's on the other side.
Well, but here's what I'll say is I think the gun show loophole closing it is like not the worst idea to me. Even though I take advantage of it right now, I would be okay with having to wait longer. And oh yeah, and that's why I like that article so much is because multiple times it talks about
I'll be
if
honest with you, this
if
is
it,
probably one of the best, most informative articles because it talks about background checks, how they're operated, also licensing,
so
buyer
it,
and seller. Sorry.
something that it says that I think is a really good point is it says research shows that background checks must be paired with other measures,
Yeah.
including waiting periods, etc. Blah blah blah. And so all of those things to effectively lower gun violence. And so that is the thing is I think it is a combination of legislation that will allow us to start to tackle this problem. And I can bring it back full circle a little bit. Teachers have every right to be scared every single day they go to work, and they shouldn't be.
Yeah, but that goes into the argument: should teachers be armed? No, I don't think I should want to be armed. I should be able to
I
go to
don't.
my school and not be armed. Yeah.
Right. I don't think.
Okay.
teachers
Sorry.
should be.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But what I would say again, going back to that article, and that one really was good because I read the crap out of it and I was like, this is good. Because they were talking about combining those things, or like common sense gun laws being a combination of things, and background checks. Obviously, like everybody's okay with those.
Right. When things have like 72% approval rating, it's like, what the fuck are we talking about?
A more obscure thing that the article talked about, and I hope people get more educated on, is the idea of licensing both buyers and sellers. Like
Okay.
if they put a proposition on the ballot for that's going to be coming to my mailbox in the fall, if they put a proposition on it saying you have to come license your firearms with a local law enforcement agency, I'm not sure like how I feel about that, but whatever. Yeah, I would probably vote for that. I think licensing is another thing that
Could help. It could help.
Yeah.
And so I think also waiting periods. I think impulsive behaviors can be quelled, and especially when it comes to having a waiting period for a firearm. So you talked about like that's something if they just put it on the ballot, I'd vote for that too.
Okay, so but this is where what I want to ask you is like, so realistically, imagine that they have a waiting period in Pennsylvania. Now you go to a gun show and the seller says, "Come back tomorrow."
Right. Or come to my shop.
Tomorrow is that what you're saying?
Most of the vendors that are at gun shows have physical locations. Are you
Okay.
aware of this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's not what I'm saying. Yeah.
So what I'm saying is if that were to happen, so I would say so like the gun shows here are Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right?
Uh-huh.
So like if you went on a Sunday, they probably wouldn't be or they wouldn't be able to be like come back to the gun show
Okay.
tomorrow or the convention the Monroeville Convention Center is where they have them here. But
Uh-huh.
anyways, yeah. So that's the gun show that I go to.
Yeah. Well, anyways, that's what I'm saying is that like I would vote for that, but that's what like you would have to go to, and not everybody at a gun show is gonna have a physical store. And honestly, I bet it's like 50-50. I wouldn't imagine most of the vendors at gun shows have physical locations. I really wouldn't think that would be very common, to be totally honest, especially now in the post-COVID world.
Well, the ones I bought from, most of the vendors I bought from do. And so that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. So, like, if they had it on a Sunday, they would probably have to be like, come to my location or whatever. And that's the thing, too, is like, I'm pretty sure you could just sell someone your gun out of your trunk of your car. So,
I think there's like a guns tab on Craigslist.
yeah. So, again, the selling, and actually that's why I think what you said previously about licensing would be another thing that could maybe help quell that. Right? Don't you think?
Sorry, I was distracted by my dog. Licensing at yes, no, and that is yes, I think that would be an awesome, like, very specific law that I could get on board with. Is again like a loophole to the loophole, a loophole to them closing the loophole would be licensing. Like if you're a licensed seller or licensed buyer. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing
Yeah.
is like
Yeah.
if you're not one of those things and you're caught doing that, then you're facing jail time or serious fines.
And that's the other thing about the article as I was looking at is like, how are they? It ultimately comes down to what the ATF is.
Oh God, dude! You know what else that cracks down on?
Is willing to enforce.
Sorry, and no, and this is another thing that I wanted to briefly touch on, and because I wanted to happen organically, is the argument that gun legislation generally increases the black market. And so, again, yep. But what you were saying, and that would again be like the loophole to closing it, is like if you have that in place, then that cuts down on the black market, like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Licensing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it will. Like that would be like a byproduct.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
all right. So, what's cool is I am going to share these 4 articles in a comment. So, we'll do that.
Did you want to talk about the Second Amendment?
Yeah, let's do that.
Just slightly.
So, do you want to read it or do you want me to?
I can read it.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Didn't realize you're ready. All right. So, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Sorry, excuse me. So, I think it's funny because literally the first sentence is well regulated, and regulation is like what we're talking about. Like, gun laws are regulation. Well regulated means well lawed.
Yeah. And so this actually goes also into the idea of like who is paying attention to the Constitution and how is it being interpreted? Because militias, sorry, but like, what is it, 1789? But
Right.
also, that's the joke, but the reality of it is that like white nationalist militias are a big problem in the United States. And I actually have one of those graphs from Statista, one of those similar graphs that I'll share with you that's about these white nationalist militias here in America, and it's a big problem. And that's just me reading into that one word, militia.
Yes, it is. I don't know. And the idea also is like we're going to fight back against our tyrannical government. And it's like, you think they haven't won already? So that's
Well, and like you say you buy a tank, doesn't it
yeah,
take like 3 or 4 dudes just to operate a tank?
yeah, or like like you can make a flamethrower, but like what? Why would you do that?
Yeah, yeah. Or like owning an RPG. Yeah,
Right? Why do you need to own a rocket launcher?
yeah,
And it's funny because like we own like there's probably not a lot of necessity for me to own the guns that I do, but I don't know.
I was watching this movie where Matt Damon is like in Europe and they ask him if he owns a gun and he's like, yeah, I own 2 guns. I have a pump shotgun and a 9mm. It's like, yeah. It's just so American. Like, yeah.
Wait, is this actually Matt Damon? Yeah.
Yes. Well, no,
That's
he's
awesome.
yeah, no, sorry, not it, he's a character. Sorry.
All right. Well,
Remember what movie it is.
so what's fun also about this one is we definitely have plenty of room to come back to talk about because the gun issue is not going away. We're both big fans of guns, and so I feel like we have a lot to say when it comes to the topic.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything else you want to say about the Second Amendment? I kind of no.
So I think it comes back to a horse that we have beaten, but that's okay because what I'll say is it's just the epitome of people not understanding language and like just not interpreting things the way that it should be, and like they interpret things the way that they want it to be.
Yeah,
And so again, like I said, it's the very first word of the amendment.
yeah,
Well regulated. Like, what are we talking about? That literally means to have laws.
yeah. And that is, I'm glad you brought that up because that's really the only other point that I wanted to make is that, like, we're talking about the Second Amendment. It is a very specific piece of piece of the Constitution that ultimately is why I have a shotgun and a 22, and you have a 380 and an assault rifle. But like, the Constitution is currently by the current administration being like shit on, like thrown in the dumpster, like just treated like toilet paper. So it's hard to have any realistic conversation about like the Second Amendment when there are so many other constitutional crises taking place.
All right, great. You literally took the words out of my mouth, and like that's the
I'm
thing.
sorry.
No, you're totally right because it's feudal, right? It's
Yeah.
all just feudal. So, all right, man, go ahead.
Okay. So with that being said,
Knowledge is power.